Hello and welcome to Black Helicopter Radio. My name is Ed Walker. I'll be hosting this show for 90 minutes for the next hour and a half. I thank all of you for listening to the live broadcast. Black Helicopter Radio just recently started going live. It originally, I would do pre-records, because I'm a very new radio host. I was working with Jeff for a while back, but as far as my own show, it still is only a few months in the making. And so yeah, I thank all of you for listening. I think I really researched the topic today. I have tons of most notes that I've had so far is on this specific topic today. I have tons of stuff. It's pretty fascinating. And what that topic is about UFO and various other kind of religions related all to UFOs, like the Ashtar Command and various others, and just how it all ties in with this kind of Illuminati type spirituality and ideology. And it's very interesting to say the least. And the similarities amongst all these, varied groups is actually just so similar. It's just absolutely astounding. And just so all of you know, let me just put this out there before I forget, because I tend to do that. The call-in number is area code 347-327-9278. Area code 347-327-9278 is the call-in number. So if you want to join in or have any questions or comments, feel free. Last time I got my first prank call, so that was interesting. No, I won't go too much into that. But yeah, on today's show, though, I actually, this is the first live broadcast. I have a bunch of clips lined up and different things just to make it that much more powerful. The clips vary from some high-level, academics talking about, intelligent design and things like that, even kind of alluding to, being seeded by an alien race, and then also with things such as I have a clip from Bill Cooper talking about just the overall philosophy of the mystery schools of the Illuminati, which is a great clip. I think it's one of his best. Then I have, a bunch of stuff lined up. So let's just dig right into it. A UFO religion is just a kind of broad term, but it's a religion that usually they look at UFOs and extraterrestrials as divine beings, very similarly to other religions look at prophets and gods and angels and everything. It's pretty much the equivalent. And yeah, they usually, for the most part, they always look at these extraterrestrials as being, helpful and helping humanity, and they talk about, them helping us raise our spirituality to the higher level, and it's all about, evolving to this higher spiritual plane with a lot of these groups. A lot of these groups are very similar in so many aspects to the Theosophical Society. A lot of them, talk about these extraterrestrials in a very similar way as the Theosophical Society spoke about ascended masters, and yeah, it's pretty interesting to say the least. So let me just get into some of the specific actual religions. One of the biggest ones is called Raelism. And the UFO religion is started in 1974 by Claude Verheulon. I'm sure I butchered his last name, but anyways, he's known as Rael, and it is seen to be the biggest actual church. This one's actually a little unique compared to the other ones I've studied in the sense that they're very atheistic. So they are a religion. They do have spirituality, inclined or intertwined with all this, but ultimately, they basically worship science. If you listen to interviews with him, he just says science is all the answers. It's like scientism is another thing I call it. But what they do say, which is one of the common themes amongst these religions, is they believe we were created scientifically by advanced extraterrestrials from another planet through the use of genetic engineering and DNA. And so they have this very materialistic, physicalism, just type of point of view. It's much like the academics. In fact, it's amazing. People look at this religion as being really kooky and wacky, but a lot of the stuff they're saying, as I'll describe, is very similar to what you would hear in a mainstream college or, from whoever, from As you'll see coming up, even Richard Dawkins is not. He could fit right in with this, with the clip I have of him, with what he says. Richard Dawkins, if you don't know, is one of the huge people pushing atheism on people, and Darwinism, and how we all are just basically monkeys who are destroying the environment, and what's the point of living? That whole doctrine that lovely doctrine that's force fed to us from grade school. So yeah, they believe the Bible is actually godless, and they think it's actually telling us the story of the Elohim, and that's what they say who created us, extraterrestrials. They refer to as the Elohim, and they believe the prophets of our world, like Buddha, Jesus, etc., were simply messengers of the Elohim. And yeah, they were. Oh, also one thing, they were huge proponents of cloning. They're big into cloning. If you watch this interview with Rael, it's very interesting. I was going to put some clips on there, but I mean, to get the overall message, you just got to see the whole thing. I couldn't just condense it to a few clips. But if you watch his interview, he was on a late night talk show, and it's pretty interesting. The things they talk about. He talks about actually. So let's say you have a clone. You make someone a clone of you, and they say it would be a clone of you at that specific age, not a clone from a newborn and growing up. They're saying eventually the technology would get to that point. So you make a clone of you when you're 70. So then when you're about to die, when you're 90, you could actually transfer your consciousness to the clone of you at 70 and then keep reliving those 20 years. And through that process, basically live forever. So it's kind of intertwined with the whole transhumanism. The fact that they using technology to become like God. And so much of these religions and mystery schools and the Illuminati is all about man, becoming God, which is the clip I have right now for you all. Is Bill Cooper describing this very, very well. It's pretty amazing, actually. Here, let me find it for you. All right, right here. It's really short.
Just the way they look at it. Here's their metaphor. Adam and Eve were held prisoner in the Garden of Eden by an unjust, cruel, and vindictive God. Until Lucifer, through his agent Satan, set man free from this garden by giving him the gift of intellect. Through the use of intellect, man will conquer the earth, will conquer nature, and will himself become God. It's taught in every Masonic temple in this land, every secret brotherhood, every secret society, every mystical temple, every occult organization teaches the Luciferian philosophy.
All right, so yeah, that's a clip. I love that clip. It's one of my favorite. And saying man through the use of his intellect will become God, which is, you can see that in so many different ways in the world today. Men, they just get these power trips. Well, it's more than just a power trip. It's a spiritual mindset of just absolute power and just this thirst to become gods. It's absolutely insane. And with things like I just described, the cloning and the cloning as far with the UFO religion. Realism, and basically living forever by duplicating yourself over and over again, and transplanting your consciousness into your new cloned body. Ideas like that. It's all about just trying to play God. It's kind of like the Frankenstein story. That's actually a pretty good book. If any of you could read that, it relates so well to men trying to conquer nature and become God. And that's why a lot of these, I think, religions feed into people's egos, and as far as wanting, they'll say you are God. I was watching clips of that. One of these people just, and if you believe that, I'm sorry, I just disagree with you. I'm not trying to attack beliefs. I'm just trying to analyze this from an objective standpoint as much as possible, with a conspiratorial view of history in mind, which I think is the most accurate way to look at history, is the conspiratorial view. And all these groups, all these religions and occult organizations and things all tie in, and they all are saying things that are very similar to the writings of people in the Illuminati and New World Order. So let me go then. I hit realism pretty good. What other things should I mention about that? Yeah, like I said, it's very big. It looks like pretty wealthy. They use the the swastika is their symbol, and I know that the whole thing with the swastika goes way back before the Nazis, so they're trying to bring it back and saying it's a symbol of peace, which it is. But I mean, obviously, if you use the swastika, they're just not going to get past it being associated with Nazis. Theosophy, and I believe the Thule Society, that's actually where Hitler got the idea um, was from them. I mean, that's pretty interesting in itself. But oh, and another big thing about this group, Realism, is they were actually trying to build some kind of weird embassy in Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken. And then they actually were getting denied requests because they used the swastika. So then they stopped. But I guess they ended up using it again, and they haven't yet built one. But that's pretty strange to think about it. They claim to be all atheistic and stuff, but then they want to build a embassy in Jerusalem. It's like, why? Well, I guess it would be because they look at Jesus as just an alien. That's how they look at the Bible. Okay, the next one we have is one of the older ones. This one's very interesting because this one is very, very similar to Theosophy. In fact, to me, it just seems like taking Theosophy instead of Ascended Masters, just flipping it around and just calling them, extraterrestrials. I don't see much of a difference in this. But yeah, the Aetherius Society is an organization started in 1955 in England by George. I guess his name was George King. Talk about a generic name, but yeah, George King in 1955, and he claimed to have contact with advanced extraterrestrial intelligences, and they have a lot of the things of other religions. They talk about serving humanity, and they're very focused on subtle energies, and they use things like prayer and healing and by whatever means to kind of to conjure up these subtle spiritual energies, and even through technology. And they basically combine spiritual teachings with things like yoga, and they're very big into channeling. I'm glad I'm mentioning that. Channeling is huge in these UFO religions. They claim to be channeling extraterrestrials, and yeah, that can people still do that to this day. You could debate if they're just crazy, if they really are doing something. I hold that there are entities, whether they're extraterrestrials or demonic entities or whatever they may be, but there are, they're not just make believe. So and that is from just the fact that all these different cultures talk about demons. It was a reality. It's not something like today we question. Just to all these different cultures talk about entities, just like we talk to our each other at work about the weather. It's very common. So there's that, and then I've also had experiences in my own personal life dealing with sleep paralysis, and if you think that sounds weird, it's actually a lot more common than you think. But I've seen these entities, so if they're channeling entities, somehow I really doubt the extraterrestrials, and they probably are some sort of spiritual interdimensional entity. But they do claim, like I said, channeling is a huge one. What that topic is about UFO and various other kind of religions related all to UFOs, like the Ashtar Command and various others, and just how it all ties in with this kind of Illuminati type spirituality and ideology. And it's very interesting to say the least, and the similarities amongst all 79278 area code 347-327-9278 is the call number. So if you want to join in or have any questions or comments, feel free. Last time I got my first prank call, so that was interesting. These, varied groups is actually just so similar. It's just absolutely astounding. And just so all of you know, let me just put this out there before I forget, because I tend to do that. The call-in number is area code 347-32. Hello and welcome to Black Helicopter Radio. My name is Ed Walker. I'll be hosting this show for 90 minutes for the next hour and a half. I thank all of you for listening to the live broadcast. Black Helicopter Radio just recently started going live. It originally, I would do pre-records, because I'm a very new radio host. I was working with Jeff for a while back, but as far as my own show, it still is only a few months in the making. And so yeah, I thank all of you for listening. I think I really researched the topic today. I have tons of most notes that I've had so far is on this specific topic today. I have tons of stuff. It's pretty fascinating, and